Right then, you listen to me, Mike Stephen here with Talk Business here until 6 o'clock. Super excited to speak with Hannah Gilbert. Now, like we said with Anne-Marie Anderson, you know, the power of social media, if you use it correctly, you get to unearth a couple of gems like these two that I've had in today, which are, you know, top-notch entrepreneurs, all doing what they love, which is the key, you know, being authentic and embracing themselves. Now, I came across Hannah on Twitter, as I tend to come across a lot of the people that I'm connected with, and you know, it's just a great place just to be able to engage with people that think similar things and just have a big desire to kind of set themselves on fire and let other people watch them burn. And Hannah makes these incredible YouTube videos. If you have never seen some of Hannah's videos, do it. They're free. They're fantastic. For me, they are the best YouTube videos I've seen in the UK, and I've said that. I've mentioned that over and over. I've name-dropped this girl. She's absolutely fantastic. You know, she's got poor taste in music, but a wonderful, YouTube videos. I was just kidding, Hannah. But what is your fascination with Meatloaf?
I have loved Meatloaf for as far back as I can remember, actually, I think. Yeah, I was
You're still stuck there, I feel.
I was quite cunning with this because I realised about 1.5 minutes into that I was losing most of my hour to the Meatloaf track. So I'm quite glad that we cut that when we did, in retrospect. It
was quite a hefty song.
They all are.
Yeah, so money is power and power is fame. That was one lyric that was standing out on that track. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, interesting. Yeah, I didn't really think about that before I chose that song, but in a sense, I suppose it is, and it's quite relevant for the business conversation.
Yeah, I think the thing with money is it gives you choice. You know, it's a vehicle. You know, it's put it in the wrong hands. You know, then the great thing they always say is that if you were to distribute the whole global wealth and give everybody the same amount, it would go back to the hands of the people that currently have it.
Yeah, that's probably true. And I think the line about power is fame is an interesting one as well, because it probably is, but it's just whether it's fame for something good or fame for something not so good, and that's the choice that we have.
Yeah, great power comes great responsibility.
Yes, exactly.
Great quote from Spider-Man.
Yes.
my little boy, he loves Spider-Man. He has a onesie Spider-Man, and when we went to the States, he wore it, and they were like, "We got Spider-Man on board!" You know, we're flying with US Airlines, they were loving
I bet
it.
He loved it. Yeah.
Oh, he did, and they were all loving it because you see him flying around like, it's okay, it's going to be a good flight. We've got Spider-Man on board, brilliant, yeah, awesome. So, your love affair for Meatloaf paints a complete different picture to what I was expecting.
Yeah.
You've got to try and give us more of a rounded feel now for who you are and what you're about, because you're only 27. You even said you were 28. You were saying you were a little bit older than what you were.
I'm getting ahead of myself, yeah.
Yes. Do you like birthdays?
I do, yes, yeah.
Well, when is it?
It's February.
It's February, so it's ages away, and you called yourself 28.
Yeah, I must be looking forward to 28.
You must be. Tell us a little bit about you. Tell us, more of a global picture of who Hannah Gilbert is.
Okay, well, aside from the Meatloaf, in terms of what I do with my days, as you said, I'm a freelance copywriter and video presenter. And that's not something that I ever thought I would be doing. Specifically freelance, I never thought that would be the path for me originally. So I've taken a bit of a twist on what I thought I'd originally be doing. Came straight out of university and went into a sales and marketing position. Did that for a year and then got headhunted and moved to London to be a project manager. Did that for about 2.5 years, and then almost a year ago in June, I decided to go out and try things for myself and become self-employed and set up on my own, and did a bit of a 180 there. So that was a real surprise even to me, but that's where I've ended up.
What's it like to be headhunted?
It was good. It was obviously flattering. I think it would be for anyone. But it was also one of those turning points, when you get the fork in the road and you think, do I go this way or do I stay where I am? So it was a big decision at the time, but one that I'm glad I made in retrospect.
And do they just recruit your head or do they recruit all of you?
I think they were quite specifically after all of me. Yeah, the head was probably the bit that I used the most in the job, but it did have to come with the rest of me.
I can't believe nobody's been heart hunted.
Yeah, good point.
I think we should start a new revolution. I think that could be a strategy for Anne-Marie Anderson with her recruitment. Hashtag heart hunted. Looking for hearts.
I think that's a good point, actually, especially when you're thinking about recruitment, because it is it is the case that you need people who have their heart in the right place,
Yes.
more than just the skills and the knowledge. They have to have the right attitude.
I just made some recruitment bod very wealthy. No, that's good. It's really good just to find out a little bit more about you and some more context. And super excited to hear more about your story and also some of the creativity on what you're going to share. But in order to save, the music lovers amongst us, I'm going to play one of my favourite songs.
Fair enough.
It's completely different to Meatloaf, though. It kind of works because I find, Eminem. I like the certain songs that I like. He's got a bad mouth, but in some ways you understand when people have that because of the way that they've been brought up. Have you ever watched 8 Mile? I love that in the sense that when they have that battle off where they both rap, and Ant and Dec did one on Saturday Night Takeaway, didn't they? Which was pretty funny, where they had that. So this is kind of me in your face with Meatloaf. So
It's on.
Here it is. It's Lose Yourself.
Radio Plus.
Okay, so we've been having a discussion on Twitter and on Facebook. Been asking the question, what do you do to be productive? Let me know what you think if you haven't. Louise Dillon has said, deadlines, otherwise I wonder. Emma Roberts has said, exercise, mindfulness, and communicate. So that's really, really important just to, bring in exercise to that because it certainly does help you shift. For myself, interestingly, at the top of the hour at 4 o'clock, Leamington Hour talked about time management in terms of, let me go back to their tweet. Hello, Talk Business. That is easy, time management. It is all about allocating time to tasks and keeping to it. Well, interestingly, I don't necessarily disagree, but I do tend to manage things differently. I actually manage my energy and not my time, and I'm never late. And what I mean by that is, if you manage, your life by doing what you love, what you're good at, what you're passionate about, and you say yes to those things, your motivation is always there because you're fully doing what you love, what you're good at, and what you want to do, and what's taking you to where you want to go. Too many people, they look at their diary, they see Tuesday afternoon is free, so they agree to that meeting, agree to that job, agree to that task. I have no desire to do it. But because they're free, that's how they've built their life, and that's how majority of people live. That's how they schedule time. For me, it's a no. I've not done it for 2 years, and if anybody knows me, I'm never late. The only time I'm late is if there's things out of my control that I physically can't stop or prevent. Otherwise, I believe if you're on time, you are late. You should always be early. Hannah, did I ask you that question? What do you do to be productive?
You didn't.
Let me ask it now. What do you do to be productive?
I'm a big fan of lists. I've always been a fan of lists. So I will have many lists going at one time for different things, different clients, different things that I have to do each day, probably long-term lists as well. Anything really in my life gets listed. But on top of that, the real productivity tip that I have is to slim the list down, funnily enough. So I might have a list for each of my clients, but then I'll also have a very short list that is maybe just 3 or 4 points in length for that day. So I won't get overwhelmed. Otherwise, I find like I'm getting put off by the amount of things that I have to do. So just having just 1 or 2 key things that really have to be done that day really helps me focus.
And how do you prioritise that short list?
Usually by time. I agree with what you're saying a little bit as well about trying to keep...
Just a little bit?
Just a little bit.
Okay.
Just trying to keep your own priorities at the top of the list. So knowing what is more important, whether it's a work priority or a home priority, and when to juggle those things. But usually it's a time deadline that gets things shunted up.
Yes. If you're doing something that's requiring, a deadline for a client, then yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. But like I said, you should only be doing that if that's something that's in line with your passions.
Yes, that's the whole goal for all entrepreneurship, I think. So
absolutely. I think you've got to embrace that.
Yeah.
But I think, some people learn the hard way. But I love that. So have a short list and then prioritise. You'd prioritise it by time. Mm-hmm. I would probably throw in there, I always say to myself, if there's only one thing that I achieved today, what would that one thing be? And that's the priority.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to do that, I think. Otherwise, it does become a bit just snowed under, overwhelmed. You don't get anything done if you feel that way. So
Definitely. Now, You're presenting, which is, I think you've got a fantastic, authentic style of presenting. Tell us a little bit about that and how you kind of got into that. Because obviously copywriting is something that you are doing. That's where your main kind of work is coming from. But you've still got this desire and this hunger for presenting, which I think you're super at.
I think there's a couple of things really. I've got a history of theatre and amdram and things like that. So I was always into performing, mostly on the stage. But whenever I could get in front of a camera, I would. As a kid, I was putting on plays in my living room with my friends and filming it, and even filming DVD extras at the time. Even though we didn't have DVDs, I wanted all the bloopers on film as well. So it's always been something that I've naturally enjoyed doing. And I think when it comes to my business, because as you say, copywriting is the other side of what I do, I've found more recently that although I thought that they were two completely separate things to start with, there's actually a bit of a crossover there, because what I'm doing essentially is helping people to deliver a message one way or another. And that might be through a camera on a website video or a YouTube channel, or it might be through copy on their website. But either way, it's people who have a message, have something they want to communicate, and just need a bit of help getting that voice out there. So whether it's my actual voice or my written voice, that's what I like to do.
And we've talked about storytelling, even with Anne, the power of that. And I tend to do it more verbally. But the one thing that I love about your videos is they're so interactive. You paint a picture as well. So it's like storytelling, but in a different form. Like we've already said as well, like songs and music we hear, they're like expressions of storytelling. Where does this creative gift come from?
I think it mostly comes out of the ether when I'm not expecting it. So it'll be like most people, I think, when you're in the shower or when you're driving, or really any time when you haven't got access to a pen or paper, that's the moment when inspiration strikes. So I'll tend to be, making a cup of tea or something like that, and suddenly I'll think, oh, this would be a great idea for a video, and have to run to my laptop and jot it down as fast as I can. But I think it's having, I think one of your Twitter followers said earlier, having a pen and paper ready all the time to take those ideas when they come and then make something of them. Yeah.
And you've got your pen and paper there. You've had it
I've got it right next to me.
We met earlier, yeah. But I'm going to ask you a few questions. What makes you come alive?
I think, music is probably one of them, and that's something that I probably don't listen to enough, but I do love, and as you've said, I like Meatloaf very much, so Meatloaf makes me come alive. Don't judge me.
I won't judge you, I'll just laugh at you.
Theatre is another thing, actually. I love theatre. I love being in theatre, I love watching theatre, I love reviewing theatre. And that's something that is I find really passionate, and again, it kind of inspires the work that I do and the things that I create.
What is it about theatre and what is it about presenting that really kind of, just what is it that you're after? Is it a feeling?
Certainly with theatre, I think the thing that I love about it is that it's more than the sum of its parts. So when you kind of deconstruct it, a theatre production is just smoke and mirrors and lights and pulleys and strings and people pulling switches behind the curtains. But the effect when it all comes together is something that is really magical and something that you really can't put your finger on. And that's the kind of magic that I really love. And if I can create that in a video, even just a really simple one, something that, kind of reaches through the screen and touches someone, then that's perfect.
I'm going to go a bit deeper now.
Go on.
I've been nice to you so far. What's your purpose? Why on earth are you on planet Earth?
Oh, that's a good question. I, if I'm completely honest, I prefer not to think about that too much.
Okay.
Just because I think I've spent quite a long time in this last year figuring out what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, and probably my purpose for being on planet Earth is next on the to-do list for figuring out. But I think really it's just to enjoy my life. And to do what I can to help the people around me to enjoy theirs in whatever way, whether that's business or personal. I think that's probably the ultimate for any of us.
Yeah. And why do you do what you do?
I do what I do because I enjoy it and because it's a challenge and I want to find out if I can do it. It's this whole freelancing entrepreneurship thing has been something that's come around for me, as I said, unexpectedly over the last year. And it was something that I felt like it was within my reach, something that I could achieve if I put my mind to it. And I'm a bit hooked on achievement as it is. I very much like getting gold stars and things. So it's kind of a bit of a personal quest for me to see how well I can do with it and what I can make of it.
We talk about personal development a lot and our own journey to invest in ourselves and to become better. But who helps you be the best that you can be?
It's a range of people. I think support-wise in my personal life, certainly my husband has completely changed my life in terms of my professional life. He's opened the door for me to do this in the first place. So that's a huge support for me. Also my parents who have really supported me, especially at the beginning of this when I was struggling a little bit with confidence and having the faith in myself that I could do it. They've helped me in every way that they can. And then there's a whole world of people online. So like we said, I've met you online. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for social media. But there's also been a huge web of people out there, some of whom I've never even communicated with, but who have helped me through their YouTube videos and their blogs and things that I've basically just learnt about what I do through watching how they've done it. And that's ultimately what I would like to pass on to people coming up behind me in return.
Love it. Oh, we're all in great company.
Yeah.
I'm going to play a song by Coldplay, and then I'm gonna hand over to you, if you like. You're going to share some top tips with us, which I'm really excited about.
Okay, sounds good.
And right now we are speaking with Hannah Gilbert, freelance copywriter and video presenter at Gilbhub. Hannah, for those people that are just picking up the stream now via radioplus.org.uk, I've just jumped into their car, listening, or are just preparing a lovely meal that they're going to invite me over to eat right after the show, listening in their kitchens. Just tell us quickly a little bit about who you are, and let's launch straight into those tips. Hang on, I didn't turn your mic on. Hang on. You were too quick for me. Okay, go ahead.
Are we ready?
Yes, we're ready.
Okay. So I am a freelance copywriter and video presenter. So on the copywriting side of things, I write copy for people's websites, for their blogs, for their social media, things like that. And as a video presenter, I present to camera for people on their behalf for their companies. And that's for YouTube channels, websites, and I also do voiceovers.
Awesome. So maybe you could do one for me for my show.
Yeah, I'd love to.
How about that?
Yeah.
Be awesome. I'm sure people get sick of my voice, so it'd be great just to mix it up. Awesome. So that's a little bit about you. Now, you've got some tips that you're going to share with us. Are they about a particular subject, or?
I think really they kind of come from my own experience of setting out on my own as a self-employed person. And my top tip for that really is to just get out there and meet people and get involved in the industry that you're working in. So I think it's very easy to make the decision, or sometimes it's not easy, but it's relatively simple to make the decision that you're going to go and be self-employed and follow that direction. But then if you sit on your ass and wait for things to come to you, it's not going to happen. So you really need to get out there and make things happen. And I'm a big advocate of networking like Anne, both online and also in person. And that's something that I've found has really, really helped me, just because it's a way of getting out of the house. And especially if you're like me and you work from home and you're perhaps a one-man band, just getting out and talking to people and meeting people, it just makes absolutely all the difference. So yeah, that's definitely my top tip.
Thank you. I agree with you. You've got to get out there. You got to network. You got to tell people, that you exist. How do people know you exist if you're not telling them? And some people are just shocked, because people kind of want a business. They want their business to be successful, but I'm like, well, you've got to measure your activity. It's all about action. It's no good thinking, a thing until it's, just thought to death. You've got to start acting on these thoughts.
Yeah.
First thing is to have the thought, and then the second is to then act on it. So
absolutely,
great point.
Absolutely. I think you have to put a face to your business, and that really helps with that as well. Because whilst online social networking is great, actually meeting someone in person is a completely different game. So if you are trying to market yourself and your work along with your image, you need to be meeting people and making those first impressions.
Yep, absolutely. You've got to put your face and your personality right behind, the tweets and
yeah.
The only thing that I would say with social media, a lot of people tend to have a younger picture of themselves. When you see them in real life, you're just like, what? Thankfully, Anne's never done that, and nor of yourself, even though you were saying you were 28 when you were really 27.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
My picture's probably from when I was 27. So,
is it?
Yeah.
Well, that's okay then. That's okay. Good, great tip. Another tip. We were talking about Nana and Grandma quotes, which we'll kind of come on to, because my grandma, who's 92, 93. She there's a couple of sayings that she has that I love, and I think you've got the same.
Yes, absolutely. And my nan, who I think is also listening, is also in her 90s, a very, very wise lady. And she always says that when things get difficult for her, she always turns to her two best friends, and their names are Will Power and Persevere. Ain't that the truth?
I love it. Willpower and
Persevere.
Persevere.
Yeah.
I love that. I have a confession as well to make, Hannah.
Go on.
My online presence and my presence in reality are different.
Right.
In reality, I'll never turn away cookies. I heard that joke the other day. I thought it's brilliant. I'm totally using that. I think it's absolutely brilliant. It just reminded me of what you just shared with Willpower and Persevere.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. That is funny. Okay, so I'll see if I can meet that and raise it. But my grandma always says, Mark, she's awesome as well and entrepreneurial and still works even now. And she says, Mark, remember Kiss? And I think, oh, Gran, you romantic, talking about Kiss and kissing and all that. But she said no. She said Kiss. She says, what does it stand for, Mark? And I said, well, I'm not sure. She was like, it means keep it simple, stupid. I was like, less of the stupid, Gran. But it's true, remember Kiss, keep it simple. Sometimes we make things so complicated, don't we?
Yeah, definitely. Overcomplicating is a big problem. And I think it's something that I come across in my work quite a lot. Quite often the most effective words and the most effective videos are the short, punchy ones. And I think we're all guilty of rambling on a little bit sometimes. But if you can really rein yourself in and edit yourself down in whatever way, whether it's verbal or written, it can really, really be much more effective.
Lucy Halligan asks, Hannah, what video editing do you use for your YouTube?
I use iMovie.
iMovie.
Yeah, it comes free with the Mac, and I have a Mac notebook. So, yeah, it's a great software, actually.
So do you have to buy a Mac to get the iMovie?
Good question. I would imagine you probably do because it's an Apple product, but I was using a Windows version, which was very much the same before, which was the standard one that came with them. So I think whatever computer you have, there's probably a free version that you can either just get or download.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Out of all those YouTube videos that you've done, what has been, A, the one that's had the most engagement, and 2, which one has been the most fun?
I think the one that's going to come out after today is probably going to be the most fun because that's the one where I've been filming all around my trip to Coventry in the studio, and I'm filming as we speak if it's still working. So that will be coming up soon. So that's probably the most fun to make. But in terms of engagement, I think interestingly, it's the cooking ones, which is nothing to do with what I do professionally. But there's one video called How to Make Boom Chicken. Boom. It was short for something a bit ruder, but I thought best not on YouTube. So it's Boom Chicken. If you look that one up, it's got something like 3,000 views or something ridiculous. But it's a really nice meal, so it's worth it if you have a look.
Boom Chicken by Hannah Gilbert.
Yeah.
Could have made me a boom chicken.
Sorry. It's probably better warm. It wouldn't have made it through the traffic jam this morning.
I don't expect you to make it in the kitchens at the restaurant earlier. I'm sure they'll let you in. Abs is pretty good. He's normally quite hospitable. Boom Chicken. So that's the one, 3,000.
It's probably going to go up now, but yeah.
I think it might go up.
Yeah.
Check out Boom Chicken by Hannah Gilbert at Gilbhub.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, Gilbhub. Where did that come from?
That came from my project management days when I used a software called GitHub a lot for web development, and when I came to start my own thing, my name is Hannah Gilbert, so people quite often call me Gilb, and so we decided Gilbhub was a good word for me. No one in my new industry has any idea what it's referencing, but I still like it.
I like it. It's kind of quirky. Now, we haven't mentioned Dante, your lizard, yet, but on the end of every YouTube video, there's you stroking this lizard.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Dante, he's my bearded dragon. He's quite needy, as dragons go. We bought him because we were confident.
It's got to be a male then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're a needy bunch.
We bought him because we were assured that lizards and bearded dragons in particular were very low maintenance, and that turned out to be a complete lie.
Wah, wah.
Yeah. So I spent about a year and a half giving him a bath every morning in a lunchbox.
In a lunchbox?
Before work, in a lunchbox, and feeding him through a little pipette. But he's much better now. So he's...
Well, he's upgraded to a picnic basket.
Yeah, as we speak, he's now been left alone at home, so he's going to be living it up.
Oh, living it up, living it up.
But yeah, he features on my social media, my email, newsletters, and my YouTube.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think for me, the biggest weapon and the biggest tool in marketing is curiosity.
Yeah.
You got to have that. Too many people, they show their cards, they vomit, literally, in terms of what they do, who they're about. There's no story, there's no engagement, there's no opportunity to converse. Having a lizard, and like in Meatloaf, a story starters, aren't they? They're conversation starters. It's like unbelievable.
They are. It's one of those things where I originally, when I would start new jobs or meet new people, there would always be the question, tell us something interesting about yourself. Even in situations like this, like interviews, people would always open with that. And it's one of those moments when your mind goes blank and you think there's absolutely nothing interesting about me. But now I have a lizard, so I have lots to talk about.
You have more than a lizard.
Yeah.
You have Boom Chicken.
Boom Chicken and a lizard. What more do you need?
Boom Chicken and a lizard. And an awesome nana.
Yeah.
Who talks about willpower and persevere.
Yeah.
That is so funny. It's so funny. Right, we've got a few minutes. Leave some other thoughts, some things that are really going to get inside people's heads that are going to encourage them, motivate them, challenge them.
Okay, so I think one of the things that has been a bit of a journey for me over the last year with this new direction that I've taken is learning that your experience is valuable, whatever it is. When I started out as a self-employed copywriter and presenter, I first of all was really frightened that I had wasted all of the years before that doing marketing and project management because I thought originally that was going to be my direction, and then I did a 180 change and it turned out to be something else. And I was concerned that I'd spent time and money and effort on skills which weren't of any use to me. And then I very, very quickly realised that actually as an entrepreneur and as a self-employed person, those were exactly the skills that I needed to market myself, to manage my own time, to manage my clients, and to do the work. So I think if you're thinking about going in a new direction and you're thinking about taking on a new challenge, and it's perhaps something you've not done before, don't discount the experience you've got. Just think about how you can apply it to what you're doing now.
Excellent. And in terms of presenting, share with me a couple of nuggets in terms of what makes a good YouTube video.
I think making it clear, like we were saying earlier, clear and concise, quite a lot like written work, actually. If it's easy for people to understand and follow, especially in today's digital age where, you've got a list of other YouTube videos down the side, always tempting you away from the one you're watching. You need to really get to the point quite quickly and make it engaging and appealing and just not waffle, really.
So just keeping it really slick.
Yeah, and if that means editing as well, then do that. Edit it to cut it down. If you can't get it in the first take and you're talking too much, then just cut it down and put some fades in and stick it up there.
I really dislike editing.
Do you?
I really do. It's like a bane. I'm like, so that's why I have to nail it and execute once. I ain't doing no second takeout. It's just got to be good. One time, because, do YouTube videos as well.
Yeah.
I'm talking and sharing, and I completely lose my trail of thought. And so I just kind of pull a face like this. And then just say, I just like the sound of my own voice. And then thankfully it came back and I just carried on. I thought, well, rather than delete it, I'm just going to put that up there as it is. People get to see a little bit of humour as well.
Yeah, well, I think that can work sometimes because it's one of those things where people get to see a bit of you. You get a bit more personality if you don't edit all those moments out. But it depends what you're trying to do with the video.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
You've got to have that personality coming through, haven't you?
Yes.
Absolutely. Wonderful. Yeah. Really good. So what is your main objective for 2015?
I think to take my business to the next level in terms of getting regular work, which is something that's obviously been an objective for me since the beginning, to get in clients that I will work with on a regular basis and keep coming back, as I think we all want. But I think now I'm reaching a point where I've kind of established myself and I've kind of got that off the ground and that is happening and working. So the next thing for me is to maintain that with the clients that I have and obviously build upon it.
Look, and I think you'll have no problem right after this. I think you're just going to get lots of inquiries, and same with Anne as well.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, I think super job. How do people find out more about you?
They can go to my website, which is www.gilbhub, GILBHUB.com, or they can follow me on Twitter, and the handle is
Boom Chicken.
You just bombed me there with Boom Chicken.
I did. I radio bombed you.
No, the handle is not Boom Chicken. The handle is at Hannah Gilb, which is HANNAGILB.
I'm just checking to see if there is a handle with Boom Chicken.
There probably is, and they've probably become very popular.
Because I'm going to laugh. They should have at least 3,000 followers. No, but this one lady called Michelle Murray said, found this Boom Chicken just flying around the AH on tax day.
I don't think that's my Boom Chicken.
No, I don't think it's your Boom Chicken, but I think it's quite funny, really. Cause there's loads of people talking about Boom Chickens, but in the random, there's even a French one called Le Boom Chicken. And there's a picture of it. It's like a chicken owl on a piece of, like a loaf pan.
I've opened your eyes to a whole new world now.
You really have.
Who knew?
Yes, this one is I'll F a fat, adorable Boom Chicken to join my WoW guild. Look, that is meant to be a Boom Chicken. Well, how about that?
Again, it's not like my Boom Chicken.
No. This lady tweets about Boom Chickens.
Wow.
Check out Boom Chicken, everybody.
Yeah.
I don't think it's what... I mean, this is called Channeled My Inner Boom Chicken Today. World of Warcraft selfie.
Oh, great.
So is it a Warcraft?
Maybe it is.
Here we go. Who wants chicken? I have 2 boxes of them. Hashtag soy chicken. Hashtag sweet and spicy. Hashtag Boom Chicken.
Boom Chicken.
In a box.
Wow, they've outdone me. I clearly wasn't at the top of the search results
I'll tell
for
you what,
Boom Chicken.
A revelation of Heart Hunter and Boom Chicken. Oh boy, things are looking up in my world. Brilliant. We can find out more about Hannah. Follow Hannah and Anne on Twitter. Get to know these guys. Paul Simon's going to be in the studio from 7 till 9 with some great music. Hannah, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you. It's been great.